The sea took 193 human lives.
I spread out my wings towards the morning, or dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness will cover me, and the night will enclose me, the darkness is no darkness with you, the night is as clear.
Completely without warning, the Herald of Free Enterprise capsizes close to the Belgium coast on the 6th of March 1987. The ferry, owned by Townsend Thoresen, has just left Zeebrugge. On board the ship are 543 people and 145 vehicles, weighing about 1,100 tons as part of the cargo. The wreckage is found 3/4 of a mile north of Zeebrugge harbour, just outside the Fairway Channel. Even before the salvage contract has been signed, SMIT engineers at Rotterdam are working out a salvage plan. No other salvage company can mobilize the necessary equipment in such a short time as SMIT does, in close cooperation with the URS Towage and Salvage Union of Antwerp. The Herald of Free Enterprise weighs 7,951 tons, has an overall length of 131 meters and a beam of over 22 meters. With this knowledge of these and other particulars, a scale model of the ship is made. This is vital so that it can be established how the capsized wreckage can be uprighted successfully. The lifting power of this operation will be provided by 3 shear legs and 2 pull barges, with a total lifting and pulling capacity of over 10,000 tons. About half the wreckage is visible above sea level. At low tide, the water depth at this particular spot is over 11 meters. The ship's hull plating appears to be intact. With dense, reeking gases escaping from the ship's hold, it is not known exactly what cargo the vehicles have been carrying. Chemical experts enter the wreckage to determine the composition of the fumes. They find no immediate hazardous circumstances. It is difficult to find a way inside the capsized ship in which stairways are now in a horizontal position. A part of the cargo of the upturned trailers is floating in the ship's hold. Water samples are taken in many parts of the ship. They will be examined for toxic and radioactivity. Silent evidence of a tragedy is everywhere. Within hours of the tragedy, the international press is on the scene in great force to report the disaster.
100 tons.
Senior salvage superintendent Hans Vollenkamp explains the method chosen by SMIT to upright the vessel to journalists and authorities at a press conference.
So you see there's 32 points here we designed during the weekend, our technical department in Rotterdam. At this moment we are that far that the first strong points have arrived this morning. So we'll start this afternoon at least with all the necessary preparations to weld on those strong points. So that's the connection as far as the ship is concerned. The welders have arrived, the welding equipment have arrived. We are loading it now on our salvage vessels here in Zeebruggen, and they intend to go out within 1 or 2 hours.
Providing the weather conditions remain good, men will work day and night around the clock on the casualty. The first thing to do is to weld 32 strong points to which wire slings for the pull barges can be attached.
Because of the seabed conditions, the pull barges Taki 31 and 32 will be secured by means of 16 piles driven down into the seabed.
These piles are in fact steel pipes which are used for transport of liquid gas. They are 142 centimeters in diameter and have a length of 30 meters. Before pile driving can begin, wire slings have to be attached to the 16 piles.
The piles will be driven down with the wire sling into the seabed at a depth of approximately 17 meters.
In the history of salvage, this is only the second time that piles have been used for such a purpose. The floating shear legs Norma has been designated for this job. On board ship, the exact location of each pile is carefully checked with accurate positioning equipment. This is of the utmost importance, as there must be a proper distribution of the enormous power needed to upright the Herald of Free Enterprise. Each pile must resist a force of 200 tons. Throughout the salvage operation, samples of water are taken. It appears that there is no immediate danger. With sudden drops in temperature due to icing, working on the Herald becomes a risky business.
To divide the forces as much as possible, we will install cantilevers in way of the main deck on the upper hull side.
Although the sea remains calm and there is little wind, it is difficult to position the violently swinging 12.5 meters long cantilevers. Ten welders work day and night to attach these cantilevers. Exhaust pipes and scupper valves in the hull plating have to be sealed with concrete and wooden plugs, as they will be below the waterline once the wreckage is upright again. And then, due to bad weather, the welding of cantilevers has to be halted. But on March 26th, 20 days after the disaster, this work is completed. Dense fog sets in. However, welding and other activities continue. In the meantime, 10 reaction anchors, each weighing 15 tons, have arrived from SMIT warehouses in Rotterdam. The salvage vessel, SMIT Orca, will position the anchors, which will prevent the casualty from moving sideways.
Wires for reaction anchors will be installed around and underneath the hull of the vessel.
In bad visibility, the SMIT Orca transports the reaction anchors one by one to the site, carrying them below the stern. Without radar, such a task would be impossible. Due to bad weather, the positioning of the anchors takes 5 days. To carry out this job, the SMIT Orca is assisted by the salvage vessel Herald, which pulls anchor wires under and around the wreckage. The Herald brings the anchor wire to the wreckage, where it is secured to a strong point. The SMIT Orca drops the anchor after the wire has been tightened. In the meantime, the welding continues. In the end, the welding at construction required a total of 3,500 man-hours. Sometimes strong currents occur around the wreckage created by the wind and tide. This hampers the salvage work, especially the diving operations. Furthermore, the ship's position is exposed to the scouring effect of sand. On April the 4th, the 2 pull barges arrive at the site.
The pull wires already connected to the vessel in the way over the E-deck will, via the cantilevers, be connected to the 2 pull barges, Takiv 31 and Takiv 32.
It takes till the early evening to connect pull wires from the Herald to the barges. These steel wire ropes have a diameter of over 9 centimeters. A total length of about 6 kilometers of steel wire rope is finally used to salvage the ship and stabilize her in an upright position. The 16 piles are now connected to the pull barges with the wire ropes, each rope measuring 140 meters. Their diameter is over 9 centimeters. A shackle like this weighs over 230 kilos. Finally, the day comes when all wires are attached and the uprighting of the Herald can commence. At wind force 2 to 3, the sea is calm, but the weather is going to deteriorate shortly according to the forecast. It has been decided to start the uprighting operations in the early morning of April the 7th. The operation is controlled from the commander's cabin on board the pull barge Takiv 32. In close proximity to the wreckage, both barges and 3 shear legs are in position to pull and to hoist simultaneously.
Oké, taklift 4, ben je er ook klaar voor? Okay.
A scale model of the wreckage is used to register the progress of uprighting.
Dat is correct. Oké, dan gaan we nu aanvangen met trekken.
Deck tackles on tacklift 4 and 6 increase the lifting capacity of both shear legs up to 4,000 tons. At 8:20, the uprighting operation begins. The weather conditions are still favorable. The wind is force 2 to 3. Gradually, the drag force by the pull barges is increased to 2,320 tons during the operation.
Ja, oké, bedankt, alles goed ontvangen.
Wij gaan naar de 900 ton. En de stuur naar de 700. 850 ton.
Oké, houden zo. En de norma, wat heb jij erop staan?
250 ton.
Oké, en de taklift 4?
650 ton.
Oké, 650. En het is alleen maar hijsen geweest het laatste half uur over?
Slowly, but surely, the ship rises into her normal position.
Hier ook op het diagrammetje hebben staan.
The shear legs Norma is released as her contribution in the critical construction phase is now over. The red ensign appears above sea level. As the hours pass, the ship returns to the vertical position meter by meter.
All orders, kanaal 6. All orders, kanaal 6.
The lifting capacity of the shear legs is increased to 2,660 tons. Various objects float off the stricken ferry.
Die heeft nog van die bokken valt die mee hebben.
Mud and sand are washed away in order to increase flotation of the wreck. After 10 hours, the uprighting operation reaches the final stage. At 5 to 6 in the evening, the list, which is continuously monitored on board the ship, is now reduced to some 5 degrees. As soon as the Herald is in an almost vertical position, again the salvage is temporarily held up. this time to enable authorities to inspect the interior of the ship. In the cafeteria, many passengers lost their lives. Recovering the victims takes until midnight and continues during the following days, while shear legs and pull barges keep the wreckage in position. From the chaos on board ship, it can now be seen how quickly the tragedy took place. Lifeboats and rafts could not be lowered in time. As the recovery of the bodies was of primary concern, the draining of the wreckage and making it watertight is delayed for days. And then suddenly, there are high winds reaching gale force in the night of the 12th and 13th of April. Wind force 9. 6-meter high waves lash the wreckage. In the night, anchor and mooring wires break. Shear legs, tack lift 4 and tack lift 6 and one of the pull barges break free from the wreckage. The Herald of Free Enterprise moves 60 meters eastwards and 10 meters closer to the coast. The ship sinks 3 meters in the seabed. The list is now over 15 degrees to port. It takes almost a week to secure the wreckage into position before preparations can resume for refloating. With wooden boards, windows and doors which have been smashed during the gales first have to be patched. At the same time, pumps are installed and positioned all over the ship. As the pumps go into operation, 5,000 tons of water per hour is pumped out of the wreckage. During the operation, the shear legs assist in lifting the ship, and as the stability is critical, also keep her in a vertical position. Each tack lift is able to develop a lifting capacity of 1,200 tons. The lifting wire slings are now attached to the vessel, leading from port to starboard and the others from starboard to port, thus equalizing the forces on both sides. In the lower compartments of the ship, the water level gradually subsides.
Hoor, afstaan. Rustig. Dan liggen we in de lengterichting. Hier achter plus een halve centimeter en voor min een halve centimeter.
At 10:30 in the morning of April the 27th, the Herald of Free Enterprise is afloat again. Tugboats can now tow the ship into Zeebrugge Harbour, accompanied by boat shear legs, which keep the wreckage stable and upright. In the meantime, pumping out of water continues.
Ja, oké, Hans, uitstekend begrepen. Dat is prima volgens schedule. Kan niet beter.
The breakwaters of Zeebrugge are passed at about 11:15. After the wreckage is moored in the outer harbour, the unloading of the cargo and the cleaning up operation starts. The final phase of the operation is when the Herald of Free Enterprise is brought to rest in a Flushing shipyard. It is accomplished.